Okay, might be a little scratchy up here because it's just my laptop and me, and there might even like feel like maybe there's a little bit of an echo or something. I could put my big mic on, but
Okay.
I don't think
Might
there's
be
much
a
of a
little
need for that. Let
scratchy
me go ahead and
up
put me
here
on
because
mute
it's
here.
just my laptop.
Okay. There's going to be a little bit of a, you could hear my shortness of breath. Sometimes I have to hustle the bunny. So I had to hustle the bunny on this one. So give me just a moment to catch my to catch my breath. Okay. And of course what I like to say and share. Things are not going to feel right. It's a matter of how long they don't feel right. And I don't know how much of this is actually typical. If we're involved in something that's rather rare, then yeah, we have been hit with, my best analogy, of course, it's just a virus. It's a virus. We have been infected, and using word soup in a way, word salad, we've been infected, and are we really affected by it? And both things are true. They created a situation where they were actually infectious. People that want to be entertained in this certain way, it's infectious laughter. They kept at it. They doubled down. Remember, in the beginning it was just the one, and then they double. All of a sudden now we have, the male counterpart. So they created a very infectious talent. I think I said earlier today that, they've been able to craft this thing like a master class. There is no one that I know in the world of entertainment that would not like a little playbook on this, because they were able to do it so quickly. Yes, we could say we've listened to the story for 2 years, or more. We kind of could see it coming, but in mainstream, there are storyboards that are now, 10 years old, waiting to get the green light. And the fact that they were able to do this and amass what they have, with the suggestion that, the money doesn't matter, but they're willing to spend, 80 hours a week, but the money doesn't matter, which means your life, I don't know how it is that becomes of value. If it doesn't matter to you, then there you go. That's, in a way, it's no one else's business that it doesn't matter to you. Do I find it foolish that it doesn't matter to you? My life is one of following the money. It's one of the reasons why I became interested in seeing how this actually all plays out, because the first thing up with the Sebastian case, I guess I saw it in Summer Wells. I probably did, but I just didn't put the two and two together. But the first thing that we were talking about was the money. And so in my world, you're supposed to follow the money. And so I don't understand. I find it very low base to discuss it in this way, that it doesn't matter to them. So I think that we have to go through all of the layers, unfortunately, so that we can find ourselves at peace. And it's just like any other relationship, because people have put time, we've put effort in trying to unravel and wrangle our thoughts about things, learning how to talk with one another in an RSS feed or an IRC feed. Imagine that. Because we're really not talking about things that are specific. Yes, do I want to get the links right, and the creator contact right. These are things that I want to make sure are right, and everybody takes a bit of responsibility in doing that. But outside of that, we are talking about things that are very ephemeral. They can be today, true as true is, and then tomorrow they're gone. And then what do? You're still left with the aftermath, the afterbirth. Because I don't think that there's any one of us that thought that this would be so violent. They're not only vile, but there's a violence. Some of it we were able to talk through earlier today, but there's been harm done, and it is up. This is, of course, I get to have this idea that's really an ideal. Everyone will handle it exactly the way that is perfect for them. And I do trust in that process. Absolutely, whatever is best for you is the best thing. So our inability to absorb it, I think after yesterday, this is not our responsibility to absorb it, but it is in a way a process to have it be removed with peace for all of us. So that at the end, at that moment where you realize, wow, I'm not thinking about them. If I have to tell you, like, I think about these creators all day long. I think about how these creators are serving you all day long. What are they really doing? What is their motivation, their intention, all of these manner of things. So when you have even more of an interest, you're a member or subscriber, or you've been listening to them forever, these are not things that any one of us can say, you should, get rid of that fool, or I'm sick of this, or it will come back around. In my other conversations, I always try and remind people that whatever it is that you can't work out today will be, and it's known throughout any kind of sociology, that whatever you can't deal with today, it will come back to you tomorrow. So we have to solve this for ourselves. We have to work through it ourselves, or else it will come back around again. And the portal for them to come back around again, they will see that it is open. There was an opening to have this happen. And all day we could say, how could this be in light of a missing child? Well, look at his family. The portal was already there. Disagreement, lies, perversion, it was already there. We just didn't know that it would come through a teenager. We didn't know that that portal had been opened so wide, more than likely with the Summer Wells case, the Christopher Watts case. I mean, the portal had been being opened, this dilation had been going on now for a while. I don't think that they could have gone through the eye of a needle. I don't think that they have that ability. I think that the dilation had to be big enough for them to get their PHAT, their fat selves, through it, and then plop down on our hearts. And Mimi's bringing up this point about media used as a bulldozer. It moves so quickly now. It's not a slow moving. And also there's a verbiage now that's accepted. And of course that can move mountains, when you can use profanity. There's a lot of things that you don't have to say when you can use profanity. And this is why, rough housing and growing up wild, allows for you to present yourself as though you can bulldoze anybody because you have a mouth on you. And then here come the men of the space. Why they decided to do it this way? Does anyone know? Does anyone know what in the world created this? We have divorced men calling their ex-wives bitches, and just like that, who have children with them, calling them bitches, parasites. So Soleil explained this. They have a couple of women who gave them the green light. That's interesting. I know that in the Sebastian case, the little bit that I do know is that the Terry Lynn gave them a green light in some way. Oh, I see, yeah. Internalized misogyny. No, they were waiting to do this. Now, there are other men that have been on YouTube that have this uncanny ability. This is all that they do, is speak poorly on women. Go into a Bitcoin forum. This is all that they do, is speak poorly. You know? But being that these are the women that you have laid down with, and these are the women that have had your children, that we actually sat in rooms, if you remember, when Seth Rogers was going on about Katie, when the, what was it, Vinnie Politan interview, and they eventually did not air that video, or they had to edit part of when he was talking about Katie being a parasite, or, you know, saying the most disgusting things. So that was not by the guidebook. We certainly did not see that in Gabby Petito's case. We saw unification, respect. They went through divorce. They had to deal with custody, child support, etc. All of the things, new marriage, new relationship, as far as like new friends, and they seemed to be able to get through it with some sort of grace and dignity for their daughter. So it was already, this dilation was already happening. I just think that it needed, in a way we have to believe that it has happened exactly the way that it needed to have happened. Exactly, Andrew Tate could have been very much involved in this too, because it's who the youth-minded will take on new voices. They needed new voices because the parents weren't enough. Their friends weren't enough. So I think that people do come to the internet, praying, clasping their hands, that maybe they'll find that voice that they can hang with. We learned this from Bog and King Cobra, the voice that she wanted to hang with. And then maybe in reflecting on that, look at what happened. Someone that she honored, respected, listened to, needed in her life. The most important, if you remember during the interview, she said something, I don't want to misspeak, because maybe she's hearing and she can repeat what she said about him, but that this was the most important person in her life, for this life, you know? The most important person. And if I'm not mistaken, people actually watched him kill himself, with alcohol. I believe I don't know the details, but I do know that people were begging for him to stop. If you'll notice, no one's begging the double C's to stop. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's saying, listen, you're going a little bit, there she is, Bach, thank you so much. Yeah. These are excruciatingly important relationships for some of us. And you could, if no one was listening to that about Bog, explaining how important it can be, these relationships, I don't know what they were listening to. because for someone to come out and be honest about the value that we hold for one another, when it is a voice that touches us, when it's a voice that impacts us or makes us maybe think a different way, or their what I call their constitution is so commanding, they're bigger than life, and they become bigger than life, and then they die. And we are ill prepared. What we went through yesterday, it must be a death of sorts. This person, at least from my vantage, where I see it for me, is that I will not think on this person ever again once I come to terms with what has happened. So in a way, it's an odd thing that one that you can revere can be the same as one that you revile. Is that the word? The one that you have disdain for can be the same on the internet. Okay? It is not. I do not think that it is the same in our life among the trees and the creeks and each other's hugs. I don't think it is that way. And they have to cause a fuss, Mimi. They definitely do. They have to be like children. That is the only thing that they can run to. They're certainly not running to their what did she claim, that she's an LPN or something? They're certainly not running to their medical studies. They're certainly not running to their handyman studies or whatever else is part of their career life. They haven't done any of that. And they need to, just like a child does when they've been caught. It still fascinates me. I do have to let you know that. Like coming on tonight, I was like, oof, I don't know how this is going to go, because I can't just turn it off. We did what we did, and now it's up for us. And I think that that's the practical first chapter of it. That it is on us, not as a crew or a tribe or a community, but that on each one of us. The reason that I got on mic was, of course, Soleil is like, whoa, I don't know. I can't, not too sure. There's no one that I even want to listen to. There's no one that I find important enough to be made part of. So, it's not a lifeline to say it's going to be okay. I don't know if it's going to be okay. I mean, how many times have we used that this is triggering? I don't want to talk about it, but I want to talk about it, or I'm not too sure what we should do about this, beauty, or like we're going through. And botulism is giving us more information about King Cobra. There was a troll in allegedly Speculating's chat today. They used King Cobra's alcoholism as a way to make a point about elevated truth. They asked how much I sent to Josh, saying that I was a person that was responsible for him dying. Okay. So we know that that is a lie. We know that that has never been part of your life force. But look at what it can do. Look at what it can do. So if this is the pointing the finger at, how best can we now ridicule, eliminate, and put a pressure on even kindness at the base of this, that When Bog explained about her relationship, about where he stood in her relationship, I don't think any one of us heard that and thought that she would dispense harm on him. Troll or not troll. Yes, right. There seems to be this pointing of a finger that is, what is it? Is it holier than thou? And they can keep that finger pointed for a long time. I mean, they've got a lot of, there's thousands of victims and thousands of stories that they can connect the dots any evil way that they want to. So we can just add this to the whiteboard that this is what's expected. Hold on just a moment. Let me get to quiet, and you guys just hold on a moment, okay? Thank you. Okay. It seems that the house, this is why I need to be on the bigger mic when I'm in, I have an upstairs office, and so the house has a tendency to like move sound around. It's just the way, if I told you how many doors that my house has, it would seem as though like I live in a beer can. We have 19, I think, yeah, the air quote, the last count was that we had 19 doors. That's a lot of doors. So if I don't shut one door and the house becomes very quiet, then there you go in there. All right. So it would seem to me that, yeah, they're going to start all that sort of thing, and every weapon that they can use. And we can say that we don't care, we don't give a fuck, we don't this, we don't that. But if we don't, it's only going to happen again for the next crew of people. And I don't know anything of King Cobra. I know that I probably would have had a better time knowing about him had he had a podcast. For me, I've seen people that are, that are not doing so well for themselves, by themselves, And so I don't know if I could have actually watched him and listened to him. And I don't know what his style was or anything like. But of course, YouTube is very familiar with showcasing people's most raw state of affairs. Whether it's hoarding or filth or inability to live an erect life, to be, because sometimes the best broadcasters are the most honest in their natural habitat. And it's for us to accept their natural habitat. Yeah. So see, I didn't know. Well, I don't know anything about him. I know that political rants can have their own, embellished reality, and yeah. Any time that you are trying to just be your natural self, there are going to be, detractors. I think this is one reason why we see this over exuberance. I'm going to over identify myself as a I don't give a shit bitch. And it's an overload. It's gone beyond what needed to ever be pushed. So here we are. So I want to make sure, because really I got on mic for Soleil. So now listen, are you? Is it a little better right now for having gone on mic and just having some other tone come in a little bit? I'm not too sure, but let me know. It seems as though it's helped the conversation move along. Well, yeah, this is why when you know that they're overspeaking the money, that in a way you have to, every time they speak about money, it just means that they're speaking about money. Every time that they're speaking about leave me alone, they're just crying, please don't do that. I can't be without you. So the confusion comes in when you're telling a certain group of people to leave. Remember, you're on YouTube, and you're going to be telling a certain number of people to leave you alone, thinking that actually you own YouTube. And then you want to congratulate and thank the people that don't leave you alone, that they are your sole supporters, when every time we turn on the app, every time that we go into their content, we support, we know at Chat Only, we support the creators. So let's just kind of talk about like crisis negotiation here. If it was at the end of, especially at the end of this coming week, that we don't have a resolution. I talked to Quiet about this, and he said, well, you could always just power up a special session. And this is why it was really curious to me to find out that most of you have come because of the Twitter. And so if I was to just do special sessions, I suppose that you guys would sort of kind of know, because you're still watching the content and you're still involved, etc. You're still engaged with other creators in their chat. You'll notice that I am not in the other creators chat. I signed on to subscribe to Trisha in the very beginning. One reason is that over on her Kick, over on Kick, one of her people, I got a subscription, and I had followed her, got the subscription, and then the subscription is run out. I'm not getting a subscription. But she had said, oh, there's Beauty Bubble TV. I think this is the same Beauty Bubble from over on Twitter. Everyone needs to follow her, and because I think what she writes is interesting, or whatever she said about it. And so I did join up on her YouTube as well. So I will be, summarily unsubscribing. And that will mean that Velma's Glasses is the only person. I think maybe Mimi, I subscribe to your channel. I believe so. But no one gets notifications or anything of that matter. So Quiet was like, well, you can just, let everybody know that when I feel like powering up, we're just going to power up. If we're able to reconnect with time in between and rivers and mountains in between, then that'll be just a wonderful day. And if it takes us a little bit of time, or there's been too much time in between for us to really have any kind of momentum, then I will have to think about that. But that is an idea to do. And then that would mean that at 8 p.m. on the last day of this month, then we'll shutter, and then I'll just power up, let you guys know on Twitter, and we'll go forward like that. Is there anyone here that wants to do their own channel that we can come to and support? You guys want to give that a thought? So Lay had talked about maybe she would power up a channel. I know that Mimi has a channel. Bog, I don't know if you have a channel. But perhaps if there could be, like, I put the baton, like I pass the baton in some way, just so that all of that we've worked for doesn't end up being in a dustbin called, project chat only. So think about that. I think that might be positive and useful, value add to all of us. So do you guys want to let me know what your thoughts about that are just right now in the chat for a little bit? That's one way that we can do. I do not think that we're going to get through their, they are not going to be over and done with us and by the end of the week. Unless they were to get banned or, Queen Bee's ban on YouTube is for a week. So that takes us out of range. So they're going to have all that. I don't really have any interest, this is me personally, on the Jackson matter until we start to see some activity in the court system so that we can be guided better there. I think so too. I definitely think so too. The first time I got on mic was encouraging that. You know what, I heard a different date. I've heard 2 dates now for June. I heard June the 10th, and maybe that's just in my mind, 6/10, but I also thought I heard like the 12th and the 15th, but I'm not certain. We have CrimeCon to support, and apparently the least person that could be successful at broadcasting at CrimeCon is Jay, but there is CrimeCon, but it's going to depend on the broadcaster. It is on the 10th. Okay, so there we go. So however that is, we could do it that way, that when there's something like that happening, that I just power up and we do it like that. Because it doesn't feel right to just kind of put it to rest for me and then, go into my next phase, my next project, etc. It just didn't feel right to me so much. Yeah. Aha, I love, okay. We need for you to read to us. Yeah, well, you can see that it's hard, right? Meaning that you can come and go at will. So there's all of that to think about. But it is there. and there's support. For any of us to do it. You're going to read the Phantom Toll Booth. Oh, no, you are not. No, 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 no. Oh, what? Here. See, let's do a little reading contest, shall we? Here, let's see. Oh, okay. Where are we going to get it from, though? Let's see. Amazon has it. Does Google Books have it? Goodreads. Discussion. Wow, there's a lot of discussion. Read aloud, and follow along. Oh, well, let's see what we can get from that. Hold on just a moment. Hold on. Just give me a minute. Let me see if they've got a read along that is actually here. Oh, they do. Okay. Well, here we go. I don't know if I need to move it, speed it up or whatever, but here, let's see. Let us see. Yeah, we're gonna see whether or not, we're gonna see about that crypto night. Let's see where we are. It's 7 minutes long, and oh, she moves back. Oh, she moves very quickly. Oh dear. Okay, chapter 1, Milo. There was once a boy named Milo who didn't know what to do with himself, not just sometimes, but always. When he was in school, he longed to be out, and when he was out, he longed to be in. On the way, he thought about coming home, and coming home, he thought about going. Wherever he was, he wished he were somewhere else. And when he got there, he wondered why he'd bothered. Nothing really interested him, least of all the things that should have. It seems to me that almost everything is a waste of time, he remarked one day, as he walked dejectedly home from school. I can't see the point in learning to solve useless problems, or subtracting turnips from turnips, or knowing where Ethiopia is, or how to spell February. And since no one bothered to explain otherwise, he regarded the process of seeking knowledge as the greatest waste of time of all. And as he and his unhappy thoughts hurried along, for while he was never anxious to be where he was going, he liked to get there as quickly as possible. It seemed a great wonder that the world, which was so large, could sometimes feel so small and empty. And worst of all, he continued sadly, there's nothing for me to do, nowhere I'd care to go, and hardly anything worth seeing. He punctuated this last thought with such a deep sigh that a house sparrow singing nearby stopped and rushed home to be with his family. Without stopping or looking up, Milo dashed past the buildings and busy shops that lined the street, and in a few minutes reached home, dashed through the lobby, hopped into the elevator, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and off again, opened the apartment door, rushed into his room, flopped dejectedly into a chair, and grumbled softly, "Another long afternoon." He looked glumly at all the things he owned. The books were too much trouble to read, the tools he had never learned to use, the small electric automobile he had driven in months, or was it years, and the hundreds of other games and toys and bats and balls and bits and pieces scattered around him. And then to one side of the room, just next to the phonograph, he noticed something he had certainly never seen before. Who could possibly have left such an enormous package, and such a strange one? For while it was not quite square, it was definitely not round, and for its size it was larger than almost any other big package of smaller dimension that he had ever seen. Attached to one side was a bright blue envelope, which said simply, "For Milo, who has plenty of time." Okay, how did I do? Okay. I don't do too much voice. Oh, there's no such thing as Oh man. For sure the cats will love it. Okay. Oh my God. Exactly. You have to. No, we have to listen to Bog's version. Oh. You would take 2 days to read chapter 1? Come on now. Well, this one, the link that I sent you actually has like a, not a bouncing ball, but a cursor that goes along. So they must have a metronome of some sort to keep the tempo up. You guys are hilarious. Well, we have a few more minutes. So quiet. Way too quiet. Absolutely. In fact, I could say we're going to just call her baby doll tonight because I have not ever known anyone that is so capable and so deprecating. You're self-deprecating. It's ridiculous. You need to just stop. Please stop it. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. As soon as we get off, poof, then everything goes off. But I can't make you stop, and I can't make you start. I just know that you're comfortably numb, and you certainly are much more capable. Well, we talked about this 24/7 idea that, I would give it. I've done 24/7 streams before, but that one of the things that we would do before all of this happened was that we would do a 24/7 stream because I was interested really to see how people come in and out and how does one function when you do these 10, 11-hour streams. And not that I can't bring you along with my day. But, like I said too, that I'm certainly no entertainer. I'm not very funny. I've said this to you guys before. I'm certainly not very funny. I did not grow up. I grew up with people that had honed snark better than any two people that I've ever known, but I grew up being told that that would not so much be my life. But they were very good at it. What? Oh man. Yeah, see, if I didn't know anything about him, let's say I didn't know anything about him, I would probably listen because he has this uncanny breathless ability to put people down. But I don't need all that all the time, but he does have a certain talent. And he just doesn't even stop. He doesn't even take a break. And it's very acerbic, right? It's very acidic. Yeah, I know that I've heard this too before, that it's about his quick wit. But I do think that this style, it doesn't really take wit and wisdom. I think that, for example, when he was really going in on the fake Christian, I think once you get that tempo down, you can really have a go at it. But yeah, he is able to just flip whatever it might be on its head. He did not know anything about the Bohemian Grove, though I do have to let you guys know. That was an absolute horror of knowledge they do not know. And we cannot care about anything that they had to say about the Bohemian Grove. And I don't know what's going on with these DMs or Discord conversations or what have you, where they had the idea that maybe the Bohemian Grove was going to be their breakthrough of, conspiracy and, I will let you know that in the day, I came to the realization that there were about 5 men that ruled the world. And I worked, people used to laugh at me, and I worked for 3 of them. So I don't know, like their idea that they were somehow going to crack the Bohemian Grove code, it wasn't even, they could have actually made it funny, and I don't know why they didn't. I mean, yeah, it was a comedy because they were it was ridiculous. So this kind of needing to exalt to ascend, I don't know where people are getting this idea that this is even, that's even possible to do. I don't know. Let me read off some of your comments because they're very good too. Women on here seem to crave a male perspective. He has said some of the most disgusting things I've heard on YouTube. That was really funny. Man, that seems like years ago. It does, doesn't it? Sinner would be easier to listen to if he didn't have that vintage MTV music guitar. Oh yeah, twang, twang, twang. Music guitar thing playing in the background. And Pink Dagger screeching into the void. I get too much male perspective at home. I come here to get less. Yeah, I mean, and then it's so lofty, like these goals are they're just these enormous goals, and then it just ends up that, you fucking whore, and, you fake Christian, and, oh man. Maybe what I could do is listen to him on my side, and then repeat what I hear him say, and that might be great content. Yeah, and then the train. Yeah, the wonderful train. Yeah. But as far as thinking to imagine him collaborating or anything of that nature, I don't know. I don't know what his very interesting person. I mean, not that, you know what I mean. Not while we're talking about him, it seems like he's very interesting, but he's not really a very interesting person. I think that when you've got this kind of, hairy-footedness and unkempt, and you want to consider yourself an officer and a gentleman and some sort of hero, veteran, and all of that mashed and mushed together, and basically you just enjoy. I mean, he really does have some ideas about his put-downs. Yeah, all of that. Well, you can see one of his paintings on the piano. Yeah, he did one of the pianos in Santa Barbara. You can you can see his paintings there. It's marvelous. Well, yeah, it's a thing. They do artists come forward and they kind of earn the commission to do a piano painting. Yeah. And I think they auction them off, or I don't know exactly. They may be on display for ticket sales or something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, that might be interesting to do. But then what is that gonna, I don't know. That falls in line with parody, and so I have no idea what we're going to do this next week. I feel just as stymied, just as inadequate. The photo of the piano was through a San Diego magazine. Let me see if I can. Let's see here. Take me a moment to find. Give me just a moment. San Diego Music and Art. Here it is, the hand painting, local teens, hand paint. Okay, local teens, hand paint at the San Diego Tribune. Let me see if they have the adult version of this. Give me just a second. Local teenagers, la-di-dar. I'm looking for the adult version. Yeah, it might not be that easy for me to find exactly. Sometimes things will come right up. You know, let me go into my history and see if it'll go that far back. April, San Diego News. What am I doing? San Diego. I keep saying San Diego, don't I? Santa Barbara. Yeah, nothing from Santa Barbara do I have in my history. Let me go back to the search. Get rid of the book. I kept saying San Diego, guys. I'm so sorry. Piano painting. Yeah, Pianos on State. State is the State Street. It's called Pianos on State. Event and participation details. There we go. His name is David Mastic. M-A-S-T-I-C. I do believe that his father is a sort of known artist. I don't think that when you find the name Mastic that the paintings, the hung work, is his work, but I'm not so certain about that. So it's called Painting Pianos on State. Oh, here's the website. And he may be in the gallery of photographs here. Yeah, there we go. Pianos on State. So the way that this works, they have call for entry opens June the 1st of this year. And you do apply, and I believe that you have to present some sort of a concept, and then from there you're given the commission, and then you come and you paint, and then it goes on display. I think. I will read about it here. Pianos on State, their history, so that you understand. It's not Pianos on State as the State of the Union. It's Pianos on State as in State Street in Santa Barbara, I believe. Pianos on State spontaneously reintroduces music and art into people's everyday lives as they go about their business, about their shopping. You don't have to pass any tests. You don't have to have any qualifications. They're there for everyone. Art teaches us that you can change the pattern. A piano can be on the street. A stranger walking down the street next to you might have powers you didn't expect. They might suddenly sit down at that piano and play Chopin's Nocturne Opus 9 in E flat major number 2. And that is a hopeful feeling. A lot of YouTube videos have been created with and about Pianos on State over the years. We've collected a few below, so you can see those online. Quite a few, actually. And there are similar communities, like sister artistic communities, one in Denver, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and New York. I hope that helps. There we go. Yeah, the concept is wonderful. Definitely. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to believe that someone that, didn't create anything for 11 years is still harping on that they're an artist, but I think that it's doable, and it happens to everybody. But there's no showing, there's no, I don't think he's ever been shown at a gallery, but I shouldn't say any of these things. I truly don't know. And I don't even know how he got the reputation that he was an artist, as in an artiste, and that he was running with that. It's a little thin. Okay, we have got to decide where we want to go from here. We are not, Jackson has 324 people listening to other people's news on the case, even though she has already done a deep dive on this. So she says she knows so much about the case that she claims that she does. We know that she doesn't know anything about the case. So we're going to move on from there. And what you said was someone else was booked? Someone else was scheduled to go live? I can't remember who it was now. So you guys kind of let me know. Who might it be? Or else I'll read more of the Phantom in the Tall Booth. Yeah, I mean, we have difficulty with this, right? Oh, Sinner's going to go live. Okay, I see what you're saying. I mean, we can be posh about this. Someone that wants to claim they're an artist, we get, we get to do it. I think she took on too much. That's what I think happened, Mimi, over there. She took on too many stories. And she knew that, like, it's Memorial Day. Nobody wants to listen. She would have just been better off just talking maybe like we're talking, just let it go and just be a air quote, a good friend to your viewers, and just let it go, because she's very pleasant. But she may rely on the schedule, she may prefer to have a schedule rather than, storytelling 101. Maybe, I don't know. I've enjoyed her in the past, but I think that that's what it was. It was just too deep of a schedule. We've seen this with other creators too. A lot of promises, and then, why we kind of keep things to a couple of hours. Because everybody needs a break. We didn't take our break today. Everybody needs a break. They want to get up and away. They, I think the mind can get very bored. I'm proud of the fact that we can go for 2 hours, and we look at the timer and go, holy shit, we've been here for 2 hours. Like, that can't be. And then it's 4 hours. Like, how could that possibly be? Like, we're literally just chatting with one another. But, and who knows what's going to happen this week? I don't really know. Yeah, right. Well, being who I am, let's kind of stop, drop and roll. I am sad too. I am sad too. But I believe that there is something more sinister that needs to have, we need to have a handle on why we're here kind of thing. I just don't know if we can do it again. And listen, I've heard other creators, they have this idea, listen, this is going to be it. We're going to, like I've explained, we're going to shutter. It's the only way really out. There's no way of cleaning house without shuttering. What do they call it when they do that mod cleansing out, whatever they do? They get rid of all their mods and they think that that somehow resets who they are. They don't give themselves a chance to reset. They just don't. And I feel very strongly about that every one of us needs a chance to reset, rethink. You know, I can be just as forceful with the way that things are because, you know, it's my channel and I get to run it and be however I want to. We've tried to avoid all of that here, tried to be more more free. It seems like an odd, we continue to come back to this, that we're just more free. We're more free to be ourselves, which makes it be that I'm able to be more free with myself. And if I don't want to be on mic, you guys know that I'm very free with my words and sharing and all of that. So it's not like I don't know how to do both. I just don't think that I do. I don't do one very well. So, you know, a breather is good. A reset is good. I don't know how to power it back on without having, you know, not the good old days kind of talk, but needing to kind of catch up on where we're at with one another. The rule base, of course, at any time that I've been online has always been the same. We do not transgress into personal dialogue, private personal dialogue. I don't tag you guys on Twitter to get your attention. You know, that there's a lot of things that we have allowed to just be free, to be just absolutely free without chattels of any sort. And then look at where we are now. There's certainly enough care. You know, there's everything that you could ever want, and I could not want for any more. I think that I told you that the most we could ever do is really 12, and we're almost at that mark. I think today, if I was to count everybody, I don't know what the top. I know that they give me an analytic for what the top number of chat that was going on, but I don't think it tells me how many people were inside of the chat chatting. But if you guys want to count with me, we have Scotty Dog. Now Scotty Dog has come in a couple of times, but not be known like on a consistent basis. So there's Scotty Dog, the Alaska, then we have Mimi and Soleil, then we have Bog, and we have Bowdy, myself. So 5, 6, and 7. 5, 6, and 7. And that my assessment looked like the most we could do was 12. So we're falling short of being able to like see what that's actually like. Because what I'm not going to do, and something happened, it may have been this week where I was like, I was finding myself going into the participants list too many times, because it felt to me like one or two of you clicked out, which is, you're absolute right, but I could kind of feel the vibe, tone, the momentum of the chat had changed, and I wasn't too sure exactly what was going on. So I went into the participants list. And when I don't see your names there, I will say that I react just like every other creator. It's like, aww. where'd they be? Where'd they go? Why did they leave me? We were just getting started. They would love this. I went through the same things that everyone else goes through. And yeah, it's kind of like, in the reverse, it would be like if you knew that I'd powered up, but I hadn't said anything in chat. Yeah. Right. Oh, exactly. Or if you guys go onto a mobile device and all this other stuff, that your name doesn't have to be there at all. But I knew that going there, I was basically kind of checking it was almost like I was checking the invite list at a bridal shower. Like, is Auntie Louise gonna show up or not? And someone says, oh no, she's definitely coming. Her driver told me she was coming. She'll be here. Then you look around again and you're like, that Auntie Louise, she is not gonna show up. And and then your whole your whole party is screwed up because Auntie Louise didn't show up. So I found that was kind of curious about, how much you can, there's no reliance. I think that you guys get that from me. Like I certainly, I remember when the Alaska came in and all we had was the darn Nightbot, right? The Nightbot was going. I was working on the triggers. And he would come, I always call him he because the word, the state of Alaska for some reason. And, but she came in and she says, hi Beauty and Nightbot. Oh no, this is going to go the way of everything else I've done online. It's just going to be me and the Nightbot. And I was like, I am so determined. You want to talk about not giving a shit. I said, I am powering through. I said, you can laugh all you want. Oh no, Beauty, I love you. Anything that you do, I love, And, and sure enough, oh my God. It was just me, the Alaska, and the darn Nightbot. So, you notice that you're going into these really old ideas of, do they like me enough? Are they going to get it? How many times did I ask you guys? Do you guys get it now? Are you guys following? Do you understand? Remember when Bog first came in, I said, just give it a minute, okay? You will get it. You'll get what we do here. It might feel a little different, but if you'll just stay for a moment. It was just like that Mac Miller song, That's what it reminds me of. That same sort of feeling, like, oh my gosh, can you please hold on long enough? That kitten on the branch, That's what it feels like sometimes. So, but yeah, I mean, come on now, 60 days, 4 hours a day, give it up. And we're gonna get through the week. Play a good Dan Hicks and his Hot Licks song, by hook or by crook. Look it up, Dan Hicks and his Hot Licks, by hook or by crook. We're just gonna get through the week. I can't say that I'm open to continuing with the schedule because I do think that it's necessary. Whether it's a month or like I can't really tell. I need to. There's a few people I'm going to be speaking to. I know that I mentioned also that the only way to really have it go forward and have it make an impact is for us to find a sponsor. And there are a few people that are in that consideration list for there to be. I'm not a crook. I said I'm not a crook. By hook or by crook, by Dan Hicks and his Hot Licks. Look it up. In fact, I went into the first person that looks this up. When we're going to make them princess of the Dan Hicks and his Hot Licks. That's what we're going to do. So, yeah, I probably am rambling a little bit on this matter because it makes me very nervous, and I'm very sad, and like everybody's gonna be good for it, you know. It's kind of like everybody may have had like that summer vacation that just means something to you, and then you realize one day that you can't even remember what bandana color you wore, and but you do know that there was something that happened that meant something, and and then that's all that it may be. Yes, so they're coming after you now again? Oh boy. Oh, I see, yeah. Elizabeth writes, Bog, yes, it's quite disturbing, and Bog, they watch you like a hawk. Why are they so bothered by you? Because you're smart? You don't lie? You're kind? People like you? I don't understand. Some people have an uncanny ability to provide disturbance enough, and people don't give them the benefit of innocence. I think even if Bog was to tell me that she is not an innocent, that it wouldn't make any difference to me, because a disturbance is good. I wish that I wish that people would understand what the troll serves to do. But I think disturbances are good, and people just, they get very insecure about where it might go off the rails, even though in their own life they've presented themselves as full-blown trolls. If you do not think that when I shut this down that I believe Brittany is a troll. I think J for Justice is a troll, let alone the double C's. I believe that they are trolls of a grand kind. And at first they may appear as disturbances. They are weak with their words and their perversion, but assigning them to troll is pretty easy. So I need to going to be running to go get my battery. Okay, guys, hold on.